There you go.
When did this all come about? Because first I heard about it, this is cool.
It was like the fall, I was sitting in like a Zoom meeting with historical resources, and I think we had just had a call of banging our heads against the wall about the other thing. I said, usually whenever we come up with a creative idea, they're like, no, you can't do that. And I was like, you're probably just gonna say no, but is there any way we can move that to there?
And they
It's the
did,
same lady with DOT, and she's like, let me think about that.
and they
So,
come back
yeah, I
and
couldn't
it
believe
works.
it, and so, yeah, so that's
Something works out.
That's beautiful.
finally one stroke of luck for that.
Yeah. So really basically, we're working on the 4 now.
Yeah, I think so. We're trying to figure out how
We're almost there, we're pretty
to
close.
get close. I think, did you get a Mascoma part or either you?
Yeah, you were talking about that, Ricky.
Yeah, so Suzanne and I think we can apply. We talked to the woman at Mascoma that runs it. She thinks it's a good project to submit.
Good.
No guarantee. She goes, if they get 50 applications, they accept 10. Typically, so, you know, it's no plan done. But it's something. And the idea was it gets submitted, Suzanne will help write it, but it'll come from the town. And is Stefan still gonna be the person kind of doing that?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so. Like I said, it'll be kind of like we did the RTP. Suzanne and I and Stefan will work together to get the thing submitted. Couple of questions. So, Mike, when you and I talked, you said Stefan would be leading this project, the PAP grant project. Is that still the plan?
Yeah, yes, he'll be the point of contact. Correct.
Okay. Is there an issue if I'd like to get like a regular scheduled meeting with him? And there's 2 snowmobile clubs interested because they use this corridor, just to kind of keep on top of what's going on. Does anybody have an objection to doing it?
How often are you thinking?
Monthly?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll get
You might
that.
not, some months there might not be much report, as you know.
Sure. Do you think pulling Julian from the DOT would be a good thing to do too? To keep them on top of it?
To that meeting, we already have, well, not on the trails, on Christian Hill, we have bi-monthly meetings, or semi-monthly meetings. But because the rail trail has been kind of fits and starts, but she's pretty good about scheduling recurring meetings with, moving forward.
So you think it'd be okay to invite her?
I think you would want to potentially join on her if she's scheduling recurring meetings with oil tanker in the town.
Yep.
Participating in those.
But does she have one today for the rail, for the grant? Recurring meeting for the tap grant?
No, because it hasn't been making, it's been start and stop
Yeah, I know.
based on being
I
the
want
engineers.
to start and keep going.
That's on oil tanker's plate versus hers. She's not, DOT hasn't been the one slowing it down. When we gave them different direction, they had to go back and do the engineering study for that. It was a certain amount of time. So you could meet every 2 weeks, and they can say, we're still working on the study,
Right.
or we waited until the study was done.
Right.
So I suspect it, depending on what the board decides. Regarding saying, yes, we're moving forward with 1.7 million with the town matching 20%. I suspect periodic meetings will be getting
Okay.
rescheduled.
Right. That's really all I have on that. Any other questions or,
Good news.
anything about good work perspective? Do you know anything?
Okay, that's a question. How are you? Good. So what's the total cost if you add in all the what the snow riders are doing, what the town's doing, and what we're getting from the state?
Well, so the total estimated cost for the 4 washouts between the 2 Holbrook road crossings is 1.72 million.
And we have to pay 20% of that.
The town is,
So that's $2 million project.
so that's $344,000, and we've got 190 already.
What about the snow riders? What did they get? Do you know?
The snowmobile clubs can apply for GIA grants. But in talking to Alexis at the Bureau of Trails, she said we can use that, but she thinks it would be cleaner if the town just submitted for the grant. And the grant covers 100% materials, so we could use it for materials, like
Okay, but we don't really have a cost estimate for those 3 crossings.
for this. For the 3.
For the
Say that
three
again.
others, you're saying?
Hmm.
Because
So you have 7 crossings and
1.7 is for 4.
yeah, so
Right.
it's the other 3. What's the cost for the other 3?
Well, the one is that the Eversource substation, which is part of the Christian Hill project. And the other 2 are being covered by an ARPA grant that the Snowmobile Club did submit into the
You
board.
don't know how much that award was.
I don't remember what the value of those were, but
So we're
that's
talking about, we're still talking, the project's cost of $2.34 million altogether, probably.
I don't even know.
It's a big investment for our community.
I don't even know.
Right, but our end of it is
Yeah.
340,
Well, I don't have any problem with the investment.
but we're also getting grants
Yeah.
to try and offset that.
Yeah,
All money. I am a user of the grants. So,
Yeah, it's for the region too. I mean, it should be
Oh, sure.
grant worthy. Because, these places don't want to just do it for a town. This affects the whole region, all the people that come through,
right.
so.
Yep, all the way to Connecticut River. And all the way up to Keene for that particular trail. Right.
Did you already talk about this part?
Yeah, he did.
Okay. So did you approve of going forward with that?
Yeah, we did the consensus, so.
Okay. Using the FEMA funds?
We didn't
No,
talk
we
FEMA.
haven't talked.
Okay.
We're still working on trying to offset it with some more grants and
Right,
things,
right.
and then as far as that last 100,000 or so that's still out there.
Yeah.
There are different things we could do, and since it's not this year, I mean. I think just by consensus, we're okay with
Continuous on.
going on to next year, whenever it happens, but. We might get some more. Per unit. Money next year.
Eventually, yeah,
Maybe.
we still have to get housing champions status to be eligible for that, because we didn't make the cut on the first round, but. So, okay.
Somebody's doing more than us.
It's. I don't wanna complain about the state, I'm kind of on that team, but if there's a housing champion status, and Swanzey doesn't qualify, I think there's a problem with the scoring criteria.
As long as Peterborough, but it's everybody's happy.
I'm sure.
They did.
He definitely did.
Yeah.
So yes, consensus, we can tell DOT we wanna continue, we have secured a good amount of the funds and we have backups if the other grants don't work out. Great,
So what is the status with FEMA? Because the last I knew, the state wasn't interested.
so it's not
So
that FEMA money, so for the road
Oh.
stuff,
Oh,
we got FEMA funds, which now it's obviously several years later. So it's not directly going to that work, it's already been done, so because it's unanticipated revenue, the board can. Put it for other projects, but it's a natural fit because it's.
yeah, you're right. So that's a potential source.
Right.
Okay, great. Okay, well, we'll keep looking too and see what else we can find. To try to make up that 100
And one thing I'll mention, because I know you're good with dates and you'll remember, if this, I'm just saying it for everyone's benefit, if this does not look like the TAP project is gonna be completed next year. We need to have another warrant article, because the other one was a 6-year appropriation, which is as long as you can do.
Oh,
It's
geez.
coming up, so. Just putting that on everyone's radar, I had my
So remember,
notes too.
Jeez.
I thought the tap was 27. Tap is next year,
The TAP was 27, remember?
When they expect it for construction.
Yes.
So.
so we need to put
Should
something
plan
on
on
next
having
year,
a
we'd have
warrant for the 26, or hopefully 26 warrant.
So what happens with the warrant that passed before? What happens with the money?
Well, you can either rescind it and re-adopt it, I mean, it's still, whatever we spent in the meantime, it's still. Fine,
Okay,
it just would expire, whatever hasn't been spent by the end of 26 would expire unless you like renew it, basically.
yeah, oh, that's very,
so
Okay.
so
always something.
what's the calendar for what we're gonna do that, August or
Yeah,
September,
yeah, I will make sure it's in there too.
and the actual language that we have to use, so.
Anything else? we'll get it fixed.
Well, a lot of work you've done, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, great.
You
You
mentioned
know where to find me.
Did you mention the crossings too, Mike? I know there's
Oh,
not
yeah.
much to say.
No, I didn't, but they should be getting installed this year.
Yeah.
You know, the master got approved and stuff on work and getting them, which worked with Joe, so. My understanding Joe's gonna be installing them sometime this year. Great.
Joe's gonna install?
Yeah, Joe. He's also,
Rail road crossings.
he's also
Matthews.
looking to help us out, in a couple other areas, since. It was brought up. One on the Ashwila Trail, just a little bit south of the Riley Conservation Area. There's, if you've been on the trail, there's a place where the trail kind of goes down and over a little bit. So it looks like the whole railbed's shifting. And I went in there and looked at it, and there's three metal culverts through that area, where the bottom third's missing on all three of them. Right, so the water that runs into there is just washing away the railbed, right? So, I was asking him to take a look at it, to give me some kind of an idea what it would cost, so I can submit a grant for it. And he goes, well, let me take a look at it, I'm not going to do it. Right, and then we just cover the cost of the culvert itself. So we thinks he can help us with that, which would be great. It would be a lot less cost to do it that way. And then if you remember, Swanzey was awarded an RTP grant last year to be implemented this year, which is to put all the final hard packed surface material on the Cheshire Trail between Swanzey Keene Town Line and the Swanzey Marlborough Town Line, it's like 3.5 miles. And I was getting ready to get quotes from contractors and all this stuff, and I called Joe and I said, hey, would you be interested in doing this? He goes, yeah. Right? And what that means is we don't have to get 3 quotes because the grantee's doing the work. He gets pretty good deals on materials, so he said he'll be able to get that. So sometime this year, hopefully get that done too, so that will work out really good. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so it's working out. You know, the collaboration's been really well.
How's it working with Marlboro?
Good, a lot of work got done last fall. The 2.3 miles, a lot of tree removal was done. We have to stop removing trees by April 15th because the long year northern bat returns. We're not allowed to take trees down, it's April 15th comes. So we're hoping to pick up like 1st of April to finish it. I think we'll be able to do that. Almost all the trees got removed last fall. Really opens it up, doesn't look like a single track overgrown trail anymore, right? So it's 14 feet wide again.
Wow.
So that's coming along, and then there's work going to be done in Troy this year as well, between Troy Marlborough Town Line down to the Troy Depot,
That's
and we're
great.
working in Westmont.
Yep.
Too, so. If everything goes as planned, by the end of the year, we'll be able to put the 6-year-old on the trail from the Westmoreland Walpole Town Line down to Rhododendron Road in Fitzwilliam.
What an accomplishment.
So it's coming along,
Yeah.
it's kind of coming all together, so.
Nice try.
Alrighty, thank you
How's
guys.
Keene
Thank
doing
you.
with their bridge?
What's that?
How's Keene doing with their bridge?
There's 2 bridges there, right, that have to be installed.
Right.
So the first one, which is over 101. The last I knew, they're looking to submit a TAP grant for that. And they're working with the DOT on that. The one over Swanzey Factory Road, they don't have funding. So I called Don Lucier and said, do you have a problem if I looked into this? He goes, nope, go for it, right? So Suzanne and I are scheming how we can maybe do a capital campaign with corporations and find a bridge company that might want to donate equipment with some of their time or something, make it like a community event type of thing to get that bridge installed. So we're just starting to talk about that. That was another one we presented to the Mascoma person today. And she liked both projects. She thought the washouts is better because we have a lot of the funding already. And private sectors like it, and a lot of the funding is already being provided, and they're like trying to finish it. Where the other one, we don't have any funding yet or anything, so. Yeah, so we're trying to figure out
Tremendous.
how to get that bridge in too, so. Be nice, because that's literally the missing link.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Good job.
Great.
Thanks.
all right,
Thank you.
thank you, sure.
Community power update. Come on up.
Thanks.
Thank you. Everybody. So. Glad to be here tonight. My name is Emily Mans. I am with Community Power. I've been here before. And tonight I'm going to give you an update on Community Power, on the program as it sits, and then request the ability to move forward. So Swanzey Community Power started in June of 2023. And so I'm going to give you a little information sheet here. It has a few statistics on the programs, serving about 2,600 Swanzey customer accounts, delivering about 18.5 million kilowatt hours annually. Because of the renewable energy portion in the minimum state standard plus your optional renewable energy in the default, it serves about 6.5 million kilowatt hours from renewable energy sources. And the vast majority of customers are on the default supply, 91%. So I just put a few points here for to refresh you on why we're doing the program this way. It's designed to provide long-term fixed prices to allow customers to budget their energy costs and to protect them from rate spikes, essentially a ceiling on the price. Customers can be in the program, join, change products, leave the program for no cost or fees in the program. And yeah, so that and called the safe harbor essentially. So, and because of the high quality of the supplier that we've managed to attract for Swanzey's program, we have we just feel like it's a great quality offering for you to protect customers and to be in the energy markets that are very volatile. And so participation levels have no impact on the supplier prices. The price that the town gets is fixed for the period of time of the contract. The changes in market prices have no impact on the supplier's pricing and customers, so customers can come and go. We have an experienced supplier, and then the last thing I just wanted to mention was the impact of the green default.
Before you do that,
Sure.
can you refresh me in terms of how much time we have left on our contract?
So the contract renews in December of this year. So the timing of this meeting, thank you for the question. The timing of this meeting is just to say that we're going to get going on looking at renewal pricing for the program. This is, you know, a few months ahead, but typically the spring is a good time for pricing energy. And so we have a few housekeeping details to do before we go back into pricing. And I wrote those in the bottom of the sheet here. But yes.
How are we doing in terms of participation from people that originally signed on, and have any left, and how many more have come on?
So participation has held steady since the initial opt-out. As I said, we have about 2,600. We anticipate that when we do a refresh for the program, it would be back up to about 3,000, which is where we started initially with the program. That's due to a number of reasons. People do move from the town, and so we would this is a default energy service, so we would sweep in the new customers as we kind of.
So the 400 that left, was there a common theme? Because it wouldn't have been move outs, but was there a common theme of why they left?
We don't always.
Or just multiple reasons with no way to categorize it?
Absolutely multiple reasons that include moving and you know, rate comparisons, but there are a variety of reasons. Solar net metering customers with new systems can participate in the program and receive their net supply credits, so they need to opt out.
And with the initial launch, you indicated we were 8 cents below market. Where are we now?
So the program is over the Eversource default service. The program rate stays stable, as you know, for 30 months. But the Eversource default rates has been up and down every 6 months, and it's under the program.
So Eversource goes to market twice a year. Upstairs.
Eversource goes to market twice a year, December and June. And they pick a day, and if they get a lucky day, they get a low rate, and if they get a poor day, so we've had rates as high as 22 cents, 20 cents for supply only. And as low as 2 cents within the last pretty much 2 years.
Sure.
Mhm.
So if somebody moves and a new owner for the property comes in, are they by default signed on community power again like the previous person, or how does that work?
So there is a process, yes, they go on Eversource default because they need
Okay, so
supply.
instead of opting, we were opt out because we opted everybody in, right? So that's what I'm saying, a new owner of a property doesn't automatically opt into community power, they opt into Eversource, if that's their supplier.
So typically we would do a sweep, and we will do a sweep for the new customers, and they will be sent a letter similar, identical to the letter that opt-out customers got, and they will be swept into the program. It is a default service product, but we haven't done that yet in the service, we're just talking about the time, and given the comparison to Eversource rate, we'll probably delay that until we have a favorite.
So how would you get the data, the information if there was a move out and a move in? Where does that come from?
So that comes from Eversource, and that's built into the law rules. There's a specific report they run for suites that provide that information.
So to answer Sly's question, that person that moved in would automatically be with Eversource.
Mhm.
And then at some point, Eversource runs a report, you get it, and then you would do a mailing to give them the option to opt in.
No, they get the opt-out letter, so they get the letter that says they will be swept into the program unless they take action.
Oh,
They are.
Right, I'm sorry,
Okay.
that wasn't clear about that. It is a default, sir, it is a default program. It is the new default for the town.
so when they initiate the contract with Eversource as a new homeowner, are they automatically in the program, or they're with Eversource until you submit the letter that sweeps them in?
I think as a practical matter, they're with Eversource because that's the quickest way to get them service. So they're with Eversource, and we have to take action to sweep them into the program. That's just the way the law is written.
So what's the period, the typical time period that you would use to generate that? Now I understand you're gonna hold off
Mhm.
until the rates
Right.
are reestablished.
Mhm.
But during the term of the next 30 months, how often would you do that sweep?
It really is up to the program. Some, a large, Boston would be doing it monthly. Ones with a lot of activity, would be doing it regularly. And
And the reason I ask is because of the multifamily units that are either already online or coming online that would have an impact.
so I don't, I need more information about that, but I can, the Eversource data, I think, would take care of that situation, but, can you explain more about your concern?
It's not a concern, it's just there's 500 units of housing that are either in the mix now or coming online. And I was just curious how they're picked up. For example, there's 84 units over at Gamarlo's. And then there's 80 units over on Route 12. I don't think they're fully occupied yet, but they're in them. They're creating tenancy, so. And all of those people would be on Eversource
Mhm.
until you did your sweep, if I understand correctly.
Yes, and they would each individually get a mailer if they have them for every meter. So if they have an individual meter, they will get an individual notification.
And that then would be scheduled after the next review period for the rates.
Well, we are reviewing the timing for it, but we won't do it until in the current rate period. So it could be in August, but, or when we don't do rates, but, or maybe at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I cut you off at the beginning.
Oh, no, no.
You remember, okay.
And then the Energy Commission has been discussing this as well, so we asked Bob to join us as the chair, and they'll fill the board in on the Energy Commission's perspective to date.
But I don't think we really came to a conclusion at our last meeting. I mean, everything seems with standard power, everything's copacetic. I mean, it's great having the 30-month contract with a locked-in rate. It's hard to say if we should go with them again for another 30 months or not. There's so many programs out there now, they're all. There's a lot of difficulties, like the Community Power Coalition. They're at 10 cents right now. But they go every 6 months, so their rate changes every 6 months if we were to go with Cheshire County. I think the big thing, we didn't really decide in our last meeting, but I think the big thing was the security of a 30-month contract. Especially if we know what that rate's gonna be for 30 months, I think, and there's no reason not to do it. People don't have to be in the program if they don't want to. They can jump out and go anywhere they want. So we're kind of ambivalent about it at this point. About what to do with community power plant, so. I mean, I don't see why we wouldn't do it.
When would that decision-making process begin?
We have someone from the collaborative coming to speak at our next meeting about the benefits of the Cheshire County program. So we would hope to have a decision like that.
My concern is if you wait too long, we could get left behind by the group we're in currently with Keene, Wilton, and Marlboro, so. We had a couple, I attended one of their meetings and they had a follow-up meeting that I wasn't able to attend, but I at least before I spread off into the moonset or whatever, just. I would caution you not to wait too long, so that's why I don't know if you want to move forward, let them continue to review other options for the next renewal, or But your schedule is weird in March too, so you don't want to get to the point where you don't have a meeting scheduled, no one's authorized to sign, and you need a definitive answer, otherwise they need to know what accounts they're buying for. So I don't know when anyone would make that decision that you have to definitively decide, but I think you should have either go with them unless we hear otherwise and have a meeting to rescind it, or just be ready, you might need to make an urgent.
I would ask Emily, just is there a drop dead date when you need our ascension?
Oh, I think Michael described it accurately. There isn't a drop dead date, the market, we don't know exactly precisely when you would.
What do you, for the other 3 towns in our group, so.
I
What if they-
wouldn't anticipate that we would go to pricing before mid-March, probably we're pricing in April. But I don't have a drop dead date for you. I would like to add that we have clarified and discovered that customers in Swanzey have access to the county program as an opt-in. So if you don't go with a stable rate program, then you lose that option entirely.
Who's you? The individual or the town?
If
So the town needs to be part of the community power program to jump. So.
No, the coalition, this may be a legal point that hasn't been settled, but the coalition is signing customers in towns in Cheshire County, including Swanzey and Keene, that ask to be part of their program. So customers in Swanzey have the choice of a stable rate program and the county program. So if they want to do the county program, they can do that. This is the program that's your default, but so if you did go full on with the county program, you lose the stable rate aspect. And I'll just say, the other thing about the coalition is that they intend to change every 6 months, but they did just change after 1 month and they increased it by 0.8%.
Hmm.
From February to March, so, and they're above the Eversource default, so they've had good rates, but they have, just a different.
If the town of Swansea decided they didn't want to do a community power plant at all. They can't jump into Cheshire, anybody in Swansea can't jump into Cheshire County anyways, to the Cheshire County plan.
The individual people can, I think she's saying,
Right,
but if Swansea doesn't do a community power program, we're taking that 30-month rate choice off the table.
Yes, we are.
So it'll only be Eversource and the county and whoever else is on.
Whatever scam guys on the internet trying to sell you energy. Yeah.
And by mail.
I don't think there's anything wrong, I don't think there's anything bad with going with our partners from before. We just didn't feel like we had all the information to make a decision. And our next meeting is March 11th. I mean, if we want to go ahead and proceed with standard power really heavily, I don't think that's an issue. Speaking as myself, I can't speak as a committee though.
What time's your meeting, March 11th?
1 o'clock.
You sure it's the 11th?
We're meeting
The 10th.
6, right?
Wait,
6.
You mean
We're
on,
meeting at 6 on Tuesday.
you mean on Monday, sorry.
we meet on Monday,
Oh,
the
10th.
10th is the
Okay.
day, so. And I'm sure that we'll have voted on what to recommend after that meeting.
Okay, so we can plan on making a
Yeah,
decision.
that's why slide bringing it up, because
Yeah.
we remain cohesive as of 6 o'clock on the 11th through Friday. But
Well, I can make sure that I'm on the agenda that night, so I can tell you what the vote was in there.
They're gonna
Well,
be
it's
at the
actually,
school.
it's at the annual meeting. of the town. So. You won't need to be on the agenda. You
I
just
don't
need
even
to
pay
get-
attention to stuff like that anymore.
You'll just need to
Either.
get your decision over to the administrator.
I would like
It's
to
gonna be
get,
here Monday.
I would like to get on a future meeting to discuss what we've been doing too, and as a whole, as an energy committee. I know this was just a community power meeting, so I didn't wanna, take up more time, but maybe next week or the week after, we'll have that meeting, we can talk more about what we've been doing as well.
I just think in fairness to the new person coming in, that meeting might be better served to be after the new person is in. Right now, it's helpful that the three of us have knowledge of what you're doing. So if you can make your recommendation on the 10th, we can make a decision on the 11th.
And
then if you
after town,
come in after-
after town meeting, I'll get on the agenda to talk about energy commission.
Now, that would be helpful for the new board member.
All right.
And we might have our new replacement there, so. Or, well, I don't think we will by then, but we would hopefully by April
If they approve the $5 million award, when does that take effect?
26th.
Wow.
We're on record as being hopeful that does not happen.
Why not? I told you, don't you guys want more people to?
Well, stop at 5.
Well, most people start.
We're gonna have 50.
Well, we're not talking about the New Hampshire State House, but most
200.
people stop at 5. I mean, I guess it just depends on whether you guys feel like you could use 2 more hands doing the work,
It's not about us.
Yeah.
It's about the form of government. And I don't think people understand that Swansea is basically run by the town administrator and the department heads. The members of the board don't actively engage in department day-to-day services. So an additional 2 people causes a logjam, and number 1, and number 2, it creates the opportunity for people to become involved in areas where they don't have the expertise, where we've got professional department heads. And Michael's done a great job as an administrator. And as was said at the deliberative session, since when is more government better?
And I don't consider 2 more members more government, but I hear what you're saying. I mean, I've always assumed that you guys work your butts off and that 2 more hands will help lighten the load. That has always been my assumption, but if you explain it, these are the people that really do the work, we're just making decisions.
Providing guidance
Right.
and all that. So I think there are some towns that are much smaller where they don't have department heads. And that we have situations where the individual board members would be more actively involved. They don't have town administrators. They may not have a minute taker, but Swansea's much bigger than that. So I think as Sly said,
Hadn't heard that,
there's other options that could be considered that would be less disruptive. And more recognizing of the growth that Swansea is experiencing.
It's kind of doing.
More information than you wanted to get to.
No?
Actually, Donnybrook, go down and watch one of the southern towns when they have their meetings, it's a Donnybrook.
I've had my share of probably disruptive meetings in my 20 years, so. I
Be
understand.
happy to talk
With any
about
we'll have a
it later.
decision for you in March.
So you still had more, though, you wanted to talk about the green, and then you've got your steps.
Well, if you have another few minutes,
Yeah.
so the, and actually that's,
Yeah,
I'm kind of pitching now with my, competitor, you know, possibly present, but, so the program as it's organized now has a 10% additional renewable energy in the default. And so that means that on top of the state minimum of 25.2%, renewable energy in every kilowatt hour in the state, the town is 10% extra, so that's 35.2% renewable energy in 2025, and then that plateaus. So,
What do you mean by plateaus?
it means that the renewable portfolio standard, the state minimum has been going up about 1% every year, so it was 23 and then 24, now it's 25%, and then it stops. So in addition to the, and I've got a number here, 1.3 million pounds of carbon dioxide, or about 66.
I just want to make sure I understand, so there's a state minimum requirement, and you're saying that on our next contract, at 25% would go up by 10%, I mean, what, an additional 10% to 35% and then level off. So that additional 10 is optional, it's not state mandated, it's a part of your program.
So the every kilowatt hour in the state has 25.2%. Your current program that's running now has optional renewable energy of 10% in the default product. So we do offer a basic option. We offer a default with 10% renewable energy optional, and then we offer ones with more renewable energy. That's the way the program is right now. One of the decisions to be made is what you want to do with your products in the next contract. Do you want to keep the green default? And so I was just explaining what the impact has been so far of the green default so far. And that's, so, and this just says about 66,000 gallons of gasoline, but it's the equivalent of 1.2 million pounds of carbon dioxide.
So is that data that you and your committee would review
yeah,
in terms of setting the
We-
default rate and
yeah, we
percentages?
probably would recommend it for what we've gone with in the past, the same for rates. You know, however we go. What's interesting is I attended the Keene meeting. They're decided to eliminate the 50% product because they only got like 10 or 12 people. So either people are signing up for the 35% or they're signing up for 100%. And nobody was signing, so they're gonna eliminate one. I don't see why we would do that. Also, if you could talk a little bit about the user fee that we talked about when we decided not to impose a fee on each kilowatt hour. We thought we'd consider it later. Keene is going to. The Energy Commission is recommending they charge 0.07 cents, between 0.07 cents and 0.125 cents. And that money goes into a fund to help people weatherize their homes and help people stay in their homes by helping them pay electric bills and things like that. So that money stays within the program. Everybody who buys power from community power would be contributing to that fund.
And who administers the fund?
I don't know if the welfare officer would do that. To be honest, which would seem to make the most sense, right? Because they know.
So it is town managed.
I'm pretty sure it's a town managed fund, and we get the money, comes right to us.
It would definitely be town managed fund. The community power program would generate some revenue, but you would create the bucket for where it goes and the policy on how it was dispersed, the rules around how it would be handled. We are handling that process for Keene, and I know Marlboro is considering it. does require a change to your plan. And we are going to send Keith's plan to the Public Utility Commission. We're divided on whether it will need that approval. It does need approval, it needs 60 days, so that adds some time, so you would want to get going on that sooner rather than later. I'll say one more thing, which is I wasn't in the meeting, but I believe they voted on, or they did not vote on it, on whether to do a green default and the fee, or one or the other. They didn't make a decision about that, so the green default is impactful, and that's a great choice if you don't make a change. If you really like the fee, we can do that for you as well.
Who's they? You said they.
In Keene, did I?
Keene.
Oh,
I
Keene,
wasn't sure if
Keene
you're talking about.
Keene, I believe it was at the city council, I think I believe, and
That's fine.
I apologize if I'm
Not
wrong,
so
the I think the committee voted. But not the council decided not to vote on the topic. Yeah,
So the committee forwarded it to the council.
There's too many of them.
There's a lot of people on that council. Yes, there was a lot of people in that committee room too, I'll tell you, I was impressed. So,
But the Swansea Energy Commission has made a recommendation regarding that or no? Not yet? Okay,
I mean, again, I can tell you what I personally believe, but I don't know if that's appropriate, but. I think we all feel like a fee might be nice for some of the people in our community that can't afford things like taking care of their windows, or what if they come up short on a bill for electricity, they know they have a place they can go to. So
so that would be raising the rate for everyone a little bit, it would go in the fund. I just think you want to make sure you understand what you're setting up and how it's going to be.
and how much revenue you're gonna get.
Yeah,
So if we set the rate at 0.07, historically, what we use, what would we get? Again, like Emily said, we'd have to create a process out. I think there's probably plenty of boilerplate out there to help distribute funds like this, so we'd have to create a process, so.
It'd be helpful to know what the general amount would be.
I think, did you mention it, or someone mentioned that Nashville got $45,000 last year from the program, but of course they've got 5 times the customers probably, so if we.
But that would still be almost 10 for us.
$8,000 or $10,000 maybe, yeah.
It's worth hearing what you and your committee come back with.
Yeah.
and thinking about the logistics, that no disrespect, but that they're not gonna deal with that.
No, they're just gonna make a recommendation until you guys have enacted it, you know?
You just gave me $20 a month. I never thought.
You only got a $20 a month bill?
No, I need that extra 20%.
So what is the option of the green default versus the additional fee? Why can't you can't have both?
you can have both, they both just add cost onto the customers,
So
so.
the green default is what goes from 25 to 35?
The green default in your program is about, actually, I just realized I didn't give you the current rates. But that's about 0.3 cents. So if.
I'm just trying to understand, the
sorry.
green default
Yeah.
is 25, now it's 25% green energy and it will become 35%.
So the state minimum is 25, the program now and the default is 35. If you can make that any
So our
percentage you
current
want,
is
is
35.
35, yes.
Okay, and okay, so I missed that. So then what do you propose the next one would be? Would it stay at 35?
Well, that would be up to the town, but yes, we would recommend you keep the green default and
Just the way we are.
10% is. A
So
nice
really
amount
ours,
to have.
we'd stay the way we are, it'd be a question of whether.
Unless you want to cut up the 35 and force people to go straight to 50, I don't think that would go over well.
No, I don't,
Yeah,
but,
so to have the 4 options probably is the best thing, it's just.
and then you can analyze whether the additional fee has some benefit, and then we can figure out whether we have the staffing to put it together and put the policy in place.
If you need an answer, you'll have an answer by March 11th, right?
Well,
Yeah, it's we're gonna meet at 6 o'clock, March 11th, so
This is the deliverance, I mean, this town meeting.
business hours Wednesday.
We'll have an answer by March 10th.
When the weather is milder during the winter, the pricing is sooner, but this has been a cold winter, so I think we'll be, you know, with Keith's process, I think we'll probably be a good time.
So where does the 60 days come in? If they come back and recommend the additional fee, what is the effect of 60 days?
So, well, we'll be ready with your plan to make the change. If this is looking like likely, then we'll probably draft it ahead and just be ready to go. So we would submit it to the Public Utility Commission on the 12th. And then they have 60 days. Or it is automatically approved, so they can approve it sooner, and they've been acting on it more like 30 days, so. We're hopeful for, or they decline to approve it. If the law is unclear about whether they'll have to go through the process or not. If they do go through the process, then there's a 21-day public period, and so they have 21 days, and then some of the plants after that, maybe there's 7 days, and then they have to so. So that would put us in April for pricing, mid-April, and as I said, that's really pretty normal for a normal year with a normal winter. That April, May, June is still time. April, May is.
We have any sort of idea of what the rates might look like in April? Do you have any?
We
sort of
really
date?
don't. We have put in a request for renewal pricing, but the pricing's horrible right now. So gas storage is going down, or it's not low yet exactly, but and the price of gas is not as low. There's no indication.
So
Yeah.
we make the decision hypothetically that we're gonna move forward, we're gonna do this additional fee. You're expecting a response from PUC by mid-April, potentially, we go to market in April or May. When do we actually assign or execute the extension from December on for the next 30 months?
So when we decide to do that, we set a process like we did before, where we have an indicative pricing meeting and then actionable pricing, typically a Thursday and a Tuesday a week apart. And it happens at noon on bid day. And bid day isn't a day anymore, it's a few hours, or you know, it's as quickly as we can turn pricing around. It may be more stable in the spring, but to give you, I'll give you two numbers. One is that we actually just launched some new programs, and they are at 8.86 cents. So that's pricing we got in early January. And then I think the renewal pricing for a November start was between 10.5 and 11.5 cents. So the programs that launched had a short program, and they'll be renewing around at the same time you are, so we'll have lots of things going on in the market to attract suppliers. But at the moment, the prices look like they're going up, but we're very hopeful that they're really good. They'll come back down.
So is the price adjusted? Our contract runs through December. Are we at the current price, or does the price adjust
We've been locked in for 30 minutes.
through the end of December?
Cool.
So you signed in May, or whether it will be starting.
Gotcha.
Yes, correct, yes.
And actually, you know, between 9 and 11 cents is still pretty stable. It's a pretty stable price for 30 months. If we could get somewhere in that range. Because you remember when every source went out to 22 cents, that's what really got us going on this.
Right, yeah.
So, and it's so unpredictable. Just to be able to offer stability is very important. And these are the only guys that are gonna give us 30 months to do so.
Yes, we can do any of the contract length, but we do, that is one of the benefits of working with us is the understanding.
So, and I don't want you to think I'm saying no to Emily, or that me and Emily disagree on anything, it's just that our commission we hadn't come to a conclusion from our last meeting.
So if you went with that other program and it's a 6-month cycle, do we sign a long-term contract, or is it every 6 months we're doing a new
I never
contract?
thought to ask that question, but it would seem that you would have to, I don't know if you'd have to sign every 6 months, or even have like a memorandum of agreement that your town administrator had to sign off on every 6 months. I don't know. I never even thought to ask.
The county program.
Yeah,
There is a vote because you choose your default, you reaffirm your rates every 6 months. or every rate change.
The hell with that. 30 months, every 30 months is okay with me. Every 6 months, that's
Even
even
the 30 months flew by pretty quick.
Yeah,
And Wilton's still on board, they're.
Yeah.
Kane, Marlboro,
Yes, we just met with Wilton and it looks like the group is going together if, their concern was the term, so, and I just said we'll just keep in touch with the participants and make sure that everybody understands each other's arguments about the terms and until we have rates and terms, it's so hypothetical.
is the feeling though to go back to another 30-month contract?
I think it is to go along.
So we
you
can't
know.
do 30, and we could do 12, we all have to be on the same time.
Well, to participate to get exactly the same rate, but we do the programs we just did and they were with direct, they were with the same supplier. They all have slightly different rates and they're in the 4th and 5th decimal point of the rates. I don't know if they remember their 5 decimal point rates, so because they couldn't sign on the same date, we couldn't get the group to gel, we just got them across the finish line. The group does, if you could go with Kane and Swanzey's a good size, but if the group can go together, that. That's great.
I mean, that group, who is that?
just the four,
The
The
fourth.
4 towns.
Marlboro, Kane, Wilton and us. So. Could we add a town? If somebody expressed interest in going with a longer term,
Well,
or we
so,
have to rewrite the whole.
no, we don't need to rewrite it, actually. So Standard Power is, we are actually working with 28 towns and 4 of them are with Good Energy. So, and you're with our original group and with Good Energy, so Good Energy is actually really leading our, pricing, they're doing all of the, not everybody is on here today. So could we add another town? Probably, I don't know how that would work exactly, but, there's no reason, I guess, here's the thing, you'll get the benefit of the pricing for the. For the suppliers and the programs that we're doing. For other towns and the groups we're doing for other towns, because if there's a pricing differential. Then we'll go to direct and say, hey, why are your prices so high? Or we'll go to First Point and say, hey, why are your prices so high? So it's less likely that we would switch suppliers for you than we would just like get this price for you. And you're still the biggest group, so. And then the other thing is that you guys are going in December and the others are going in October, November.
I also noticed that a lot of the surrounding towns are signing up with Cheshire County right now, so I don't know if that limits their ability to sign on with us at this time.
Who are the other guys?
I meant the other programs that Standard Power is renewing
But the 4 of us are being.
in December, that's
I'm with you with the longer term
Yeah,
is primary benefit.
I would think, if we decided to do the fee, that was also a benefit. Not everybody wants to chip into stuff like that, so we have to settle it, but. It helps keep people in their homes, I think it's important.
I know we were exploring, I don't think we had an answer about adding the fee mid-contract, so I'll get an answer to that. I'm not sure whether that needs to be settled, because you must have, I don't know whether you have a warrant article or a process that you would need to vote on creating the bucket for where the money can go.
That's something that would need to be looked at. Those are kind of logistical details that's why I like Bill asked about other communities that are doing it. I'd be curious. In their city, they're different, they have different structures, but if there are any other towns doing it.
Nashua too, because they're doing.
Actually, yeah, so the cities have a much different appropriation process.
Yeah, no, Peterborough's doing it, so
Well,
that would be. That. Tell you how the.
We don't need to learn.
We're hoping to have a meeting of soon, maybe this fall, with all the towns that are in the region to talk about energy initiatives and community power programs and stuff like that. So I know that's a little late for this conversation, but it is something we're looking forward to talking about.
I guess the longer term, see if anybody wants to jump ship.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, good luck. Are you guys having a go on the big party? Is there a tape? This is it. Where's the?
Much of my girls figured.
His last day is Thursday, we're having a big party Friday.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Without,
Yes. That was totally over my head.
Oh, fine.
But,
We got to get together again.
that was Jim.
Thanks, Emily.
I'm gonna be there.
Appreciate
I
it.
will.
I'll let her know.
I'll have her text you.
All right, sounds good.
Regular update?
just by way of pointing out, I don't think you probably want me to read it, but just an update on the various pending projects.
I look at the Great Wall of East Swanzey.
That's coming along to be nicely. It'll be pretty well. Big stuff wrapped up in the next month is the goal in March. We talked about the rail trail and the Christian Hill Road Bridge. A little bit, California, North Winchester Street, construction is hoping to go out to bid either later this week, next week. The bids due back around the beginning of April. Grange Hall roof is done.
Did you have your final walkthrough with them?
No.
That's still, it's going to happen or it's not going to?
We'll have to.
What have you do? So
But yeah,
we signed off and we're,
I think Joe.
Joe,
wants to
yeah.
walk through, but I don't think he has it.
okay.
West Swanzey wastewater solar array, it's going to the planning board for site plan review tomorrow.
Don't forget about Martinburg Bridge.
Martin, moving slowly, but we are, I mentioned to the chief today, to keep an eye on those emails to make sure the dry hydrant stays in the plan. What's the bridge on 32 south of town hall ways. Wastewater treatment plant study is underway. They're working on the pilot study currently and historical review of operations. They did a site visit out there.
With regard to Martin Brook, do we have a meeting coming up with
They
them?
talked about scheduling one in the spring.
And that'll be for public hearing?
Correct.
And
I think
public information?
Yeah, I think it'll be similar to the one we had that last summer.
Yeah.
I think it was-
Hopefully they figured out a driver. Seems so simple.
Not when you restrict it to only state roads, I guess. You said a detour.
Yeah.
It was not simple the last time.
No.
To hire an engineer for Swansea Lake Dam went out last week, or earlier this week. Submissions due back in mid-March, also the town exterior painting RFP, so we include Pennell Hall, Whitcomb Hall, and the Grange. And choose any combination hall on some of those buildings, depending on what we get back prices. DPW director didn't want questions to come in and he's gonna be away, so we're getting that posted tomorrow, be back in also late March,
What's late March?
the 20th. When the bids are due back.
Oh, that's what I was asking.
Yeah. I don't know, Matt, what do I consider late March? And the other items are either on hold pending town meeting approval or waiting to be closed out.
You're gonna magically do all that tomorrow.
One thing I said I was gonna do tomorrow was send out the painting RFP. You emails all drafted, so.
How are we drafting it? Is it done as a combination or they have the opportunity to bid on each one?
It's all one document and then the proposal sheet that they have to fill out and return says town hall X, Greenwich Hall X. Lincoln Hall X, and then if there's anything like, you know, it saves 10% if you pick me for all of them, we just ask them that they know that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, say, we talked about maybe just doing a side of the Grange Hall, I figured that might be too confusing to spell it out, but so it'll be a bulk price, but if it's 50,000, then you say we only got 30, well, you pick who you want, and then we wanna do the front of the, you know, whatever side. Whatever you can afford, you can try to customize it once the bids get back.
What do we have left for in the Grange fund? That was set aside for payment?
35,000, wasn't set aside for that specific,
wasn't it?
but I think that's what's left in there.
Sorry, I thought that's the way it was explained. Doesn't matter. Thank you.
Any correspondence?
You got $400 or $325 for stewardship of Whitcomb Hall based on Katrina filling out the report and getting back in time to get here.
Nice.
So it's good.
And she's gonna work 100%.
We got paid this week, that week too.
That's good.
We got the proof, which is why I was late. Of the town report here, showing our nice couple of bridges after they were did that for the bridges and the increase in fines. Recognize this guy next to us for 9 years of service on the board and his retirement for Sly. Beverly retiring from minute taking.
Thank you. You have a picture?
When do they send them out? How do they get out? When do we get them?
Come to the town hall, pick it up.
They're already there?
Yeah, just this one. Either Friday or Monday. Depending on how quickly the printer can work.
It's it.
Want to say thank you to everyone, all the town employees and board and volunteers and folks. It's been a great place to work and hope everything continues to go in a positive direction.
Put that under public input.
Very good.
Any other public input?
Let us know where you are, Mark, you have to take a drive over once in a while, just to bug you.
There you go.
He said there's good restaurants over there.
I did not say that. No, it's true. No good restaurants or grocery stores.
All right, looks like we got a non-public or two.
Under,
B for
They would get kicked out, like,
I'll make that motion, Joe.
I'll make the motion that we move into non-public and B.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Have a good night, Michael. Take care, Mike.
Second.
Here it is, B.
I.
I'll let her. That's it.